Ahoy VC, welcome to the Personal Oasis. This is the BLind IsLind. I am your host, Isaac, and today we are going to be looking at my top 5 picks if you want to get into the Beach Boys beyond Pet Sounds and their greatest hits. Oh yeah. So, I got this idea because I was watching Mike, the guitar player, and his entry into AKG's 100 subscribers contest. If you have not done that, I highly suggest you do. I'm working on my own video right now, just trying to pick out which records I should use. His contest features albums that are 10 years consecutively placed away from each other. So, and in Mike's video, he was showing off a Beach Boys album, Summer Days and Summer Nights, 2 exclamation points. And he said in the video that, you know, a lot of people in the BC, or just in general, kind of, you know, brush off the Beach Boys, don't really pay much attention to them, and that there was still a lot of good stuff to be explored. And I thought that was a great point, because the Beach Boys are my favorite band, and I figured that I should probably, you know, give my own opinion. And I thought about doing a video where I ranked the Beach Boys discography, but I'm still missing 2 seminal albums by the Beach Boys, Surf's Up and Surfin' Safari. I don't feel like I can do that without those 2 in my collection. I would also love to get the Smile sessions as well, as I don't have those either. And I'm just waiting to find those for the right price, or VCLT. Who knows what'll happen. But yeah, you used to be able to find Surf's Up anywhere for super cheap, and I haven't seen it in 2 years. I really regret getting rid of my copy. But I digress. I wanted to basically share 5 records that I think are worth listening to by the Beach Boys. And there are a few rules that are going to be going into effect here. Number 1, Pet Sounds is not included on this list. Everyone knows, and their mother knows, that Pet Sounds is amazing, and it had the whole battle with the Beatles. It's not even necessary to talk about. It's one of my all-time favorite records. Second, greatest hits compilations will not be included. I do recommend Endless Summer to anybody who's just really not looking to get into their discography. It has all of their early hits, and it's just a fun album, so everybody usually knows any greatest hits compilation by the Beach Boys is a safe bet. But these are records that kind of are under the rug, a little bit unknown. Maybe you've heard of them, maybe you haven't, and I really want to share that. And then before I get started, I am going to make my reasoning as to why I think Beach Boys are my favorite band of all time, and then also a quick word on Mike Love. The Beach Boys are my favorite band because they're a group that constantly shifted for about a 15-year period. They remind me a lot of the Kinks in that way, that they kind of started off one way and then completely transformed by the time they were through the mid-70s. And I have to respect that so much. That's why the Kinks are one of my favorite bands too. And they had an indelible impact on how people view popular music. Whether or not you like the Beach Boys, you have heard their music before, you've heard their big singles, and you've probably hummed along to them, and it's just a matter of fact. The Beach Boys didn't have the classic run of albums like other bands, such as the Beatles, but to me, when they were at their heights, they were the greatest group ever. And I know this goes without saying, but Brian Wilson, his musical compositional genius on those tracks in 1966-67 are some of the greatest tracks ever to be put out by a pop compositionalist. And I have to tip my cap at him and say that he may be the greatest musical genius producer of that time period. And while again, they are my favorite band, it doesn't mean necessarily that I think they are the best band. There is a difference there. But the Beach Boys always make me feel good, always put me in a great mood, and their harmonies are beyond compare. They are so wonderful, so beautiful, and they're a group that I will never cease to get tired of. Now, a quick word on Mike Love. I could go into a huge bashing diatribe on him because, as most Beach Boys fans know, Mike Love is a piece of crap. He was a person that was constantly trying to bring down the natural creativity of most of the members of the group, and often just wanted to sing about young girls in bikinis. It's easy to vilify him, but you also can't take away what he did give to the group. His lead vocals on a lot of tracks are very strong, and also the fact that he gave a lot of the melodies to some of these tracks. You can't take that away either. So I have very much a hate and not love, but maybe begrudging respect relationship with Mike Love. So, quick word on that. I'm not a fan of the guy, but he's a Beach Boy, so I can't take that away from him. Now, after much winded talk, let's get into the records. Surfer Girl. This was a 1963 album, and I'm choosing this one because a lot of people would probably go with Today or even All Summer Days, Summer Nights. But to me, this is where the Beach Boys finally started to grasp more of their sound, and it's just a beautiful early surf pop rock record. And not only is it fun, but there are moments on here that really do become transcendent and beautiful, such as In My Room, The Surfer Moon, Your Summer Dream, and these are just amazing tracks. And while there may be a little filler, there's nothing that's quite as egregious as Daddy's Bull Session or Cassius Love versus Sonny Wilson, those horrible in-studio talking sessions. None of that is present here. So you're going to find a very enjoyable listen, and you're going to probably find a lot of just really great early pop rock to love in this record. My second pick is Wild Honey. This is when the Beach Boys started to explore a little bit of an R&B sound, and it's not a traditional sounding Beach Boys record because they are doing more singular vocals with some backup singers really doing backup, not being featured. It's not really the harmonics that you're used to, but as far as a single cohesive record, this is probably right up there with Pet Sounds as far as being cohesive. It's so tight. And each song has this laid-back, lo-fi feeling to it. And I would just have to say that this is probably like my third favorite Beach Boys record, or second, I would say. It's really nice music to just chill out, lay back, have a great time with. My next pick is Beach Boys' Friends. And this one came out directly after Wild Honey. And if you're looking for a record that is close in sound and an idea as Smile and Pet Sounds, this is probably like the bookend to that trilogy. It is beautiful as far as the production value is concerned. The harmonies on here are tighter than they've ever been, and it is just a completely wonderful listening experience. Brian Wilson takes more control on this record, and you can really tell it is another really cohesive record, except for having the tacked on Transcendental Meditation, which I love in its own right, but it just doesn't quite fit in with the rest of the record. However, there's nothing in here that isn't worth listening to, and it's definitely an unheralded gem. Number 2, I have Holland. I've already talked about this one a lot. It's in my top 100 favorite albums of all time, and it's also what I think the second best Beach Boys record. Again, it's not a very Beach Boys sounding album, but it is super, super good. and I would highly recommend anyone to give it a shot for a later period Beach Boys listen. And finally, I have Smiley Smile. This is the basically discarded remains of the Smile sessions, and many people will say Smile is much better, and I would have to agree, but this is also what a wonderful lo-fi ambient pop record. It was kind of one of those very first records where it sounded like it was recorded in a bedroom and just a bunch of guys getting around, bebopping around, with huge singles like Good Vibrations and Heroes and Villains being included on here as well. There are some weird out there ideas on here, but if you're looking for an atmospheric pop, bedroom pop sounding Beach Boys record, there's no other album that I would suggest. So guys, what did you think of my picks? Was there another Beach Boys record that you would have suggested? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, I hope that you have a great day on your own personal oasis. Cheers.